Hey, what's up? It's Joe. I'm just taking a walk in the Beeyard and taking a look at what's going on. Wow, there's just a ton of activity. It's always nice in the fall before the winter sets in. The bees are very active. You can see down here. Let me switch the camera. You can tell there's a fervor about their activity. They're trying to get out there and pull in as much nectar as they can as quickly as possible. And they are doing a good job with that. So this is one that I didn't make any videos last week, but this is one that I'm going to be interested in seeing what's going on. They had probably 30 queen cells, a whole bunch of them. Looked like they were probably emergency cells, but I couldn't quite tell if it was swarm cells, and I couldn't find the queen. So I have a feeling that maybe I bumped the queen and killed her, or something else happened to the queen and they were creating emergency cells. But the problem was some of the cells were in the center of the combs and some were down on the bottom, so they kind of look like they could have been swarm cells. But I decided to do a split just in case. I didn't have a ton of time, and I didn't want to go through the hive again and look for the queen, and I had smoked them and they were kind of all milling about. So I just left one queen cell down in the bottom one in case they did want to hatch, and then I put a bottom board on, and I put the entrance to the top one facing the other way. So one entrance is facing this way, one entrance is facing that way. So what I essentially did was I created a split to make them feel like they swarmed. And I made sure the queen wasn't down in the bottom one. I went through carefully and made sure she wasn't down there. And then I left the one queen cell down there. So essentially now I have two colonies going. They are raising a queen down there. I'm going to see today if they made additional queen cells in the top one, and we'll see what happens with that. And then there were a couple others that had some queen cells. All of these hives are kind of tightly packed in with their population, and I don't have any additional drawn supers for them, so I'm pretty much going to be wintering them like this. And I did have undrawn supers earlier on and they weren't drawing them, so I pulled them all off, but that really crowded the bees in, so there were a few of them that were thinking about swarming. And now I have some bees following me. So this may be my last check on a lot of these. I'm going to be feeding them, most of them, today, and I'm probably just going to be taking quick checks in them. I don't want to spend a heck of a lot of time in them. I'm going to be putting entrance reducers on, and I'll be putting aluminum, it's like aluminum foil bubble wrap insulation on top of the hives. And then I'll also be putting feeding shims on with top entrance holes. So pretty much getting them set up for winter. And hopefully on most of them I won't have to inspect them again. Like I said, some of them I probably don't have to inspect today either. I probably won't inspect all of them. But I am going to get started. I think I'm going to take a look at these nuke hives first, see what's going on with them. And I'll just be taking a quick look in there. I want to get some weights on some of these hives, so I brought this. This is actually for weighing shipments, large box shipments, but I'm going to try and weigh the hives with this and see how well it does. One of the other things that I'm going to be doing today is making sure that the cluster's down towards the bottom. It's something that's important to do in the fall, is to make sure the cluster's down at the bottom. If, as an example, the cluster was up in this area at the beginning of winter, the bees will move left and right in this into super, but they won't go down. And a lot of times, if the cluster's not in the right spot, the bees will run out of food in the top, but they'll have plenty of food in the bottom, but they'll still die from starvation in the top because it's not their natural instinct to go downwards to find food. So I want to make sure the cluster's in the bottom. I want to seal off I'm going to put the entrance reducers on all the hives. I'm going to put a shim on the top and see where we go from there.